Christopher Luxon looks to have missed his target of getting to APEC in San Francisco this week, admitting it's unlikely he'll have formed a government in time.
He says the three parties are making progress, but there are still issues for them to work through. Political editor Jenna Lynch has the latest.
There are some rooms you can only enter if you're a Prime Minister. Once in, you rub shoulders with the powerhouses of international politics.
It was a standard handshake.
Christopher Luxon has made it very clear he wanted in on the grip and grin APEC summit this year.
I would really like to go.
It almost became a deadline of sorts for a government to be formed, a deadline fast approaching.
I think it's increasingly unlikely, and I just say that because I really want to be here on the ground and make sure that we actually form a strong and stable government. That has to be my job number one.
Working through the weekend at all hours to try and get the ministerial warrant and get himself on the plane.
We finished at 2 a.m. on Saturday morning and a late night on Saturday as well. So no, it's been full on.
But he's not got his ducks in a row.
This week will be a really important week because we have some outstanding issues that we need to get resolved.
The first hint of an admission from the band of brokers that they've hit a roadblock.
We've narrowed the issues, but there are some remaining.
Last week they were fairly well canvassed, but as I understand, there's more talks going on.
We've had our moments. I'm sure we have points of disagreement, but we've been able to work through that very well.
No one willing to define the problems, but National's foreign buyers tax is likely a problem for New Zealand First, and ACT's treaty referendum a likely problem for National.
There's different objections to different policies, and we're all working through that as a threesome.
Former Treaty Negotiations Minister Chris Finlayson has joined the chorus, saying a referendum would be divisive.
I think it would be a bit of a disaster, really, and I like David Seymour, and I've told him so.
Look, I'm very confident that we're going to see that issue advance.
Christopher Luxon talked up his business credentials, talked up his art of the deal.
Is Christopher Luxon a good negotiator?
Look, I think everyone's doing this for the first time in some way, because even Winston Peters, who says it's not his first rodeo, but every coalition negotiation is different.
We're going through all three parties' manifestos, so you can just imagine it's a huge amount of work and it's a huge amount of complexity.
With no end date in sight.
This week or early next week?
Well, I think we'd be pretty close if we hadn't done it this week.
We've come here to create a government that resembles a Mustang, okay? Not a bike ridden by the Greens. Bye-bye.
719 hours since polls closed, and still we wait.
Well, Jenna joins us now from Wellington Airport, where you are waiting for the coalition politicians to fly in. Jenna, have you spied any yet?
Few odds and sods, but not the three that count. The leaders are yet to arrive in Wellington again for talks. A flight has just landed from Auckland, so let me know if you see them behind me while we are talking. I understand most of the heavy lifting was done by other MPs and staffers today as these three try and iron out the wrinkles before they chuck the cloaks of government on. I also understand the way that they operate is a bit of a loggerhead. They are trying to work out the details of how they might agree to disagree in public. Now, Christopher Luxon should never have set himself that pseudo deadline of meeting APEC. Not only did it give those other parties a bargaining chip, something to try and get policy concessions out of because he wanted this done quickly, it also gave him a goal to miss, an outcome to miss before he's even taken the job. Christopher Luxon has talked big about his business now, but he may just be discovering that politics is not the same game.
Indeed. Jenna Lynch there, live from Wellington Airport. Tēnā koe.